and then I drove to Burlington that night.
That's a lot.
7 o'clock.
Worth it. It was
Yeah.
worth it.
All right, good evening, everybody. Seeing that it's reached the magic hour of 7 o'clock. A meeting of the Budget Committee will be held tonight, Wednesday, June 8th at 2022 at 7 p.m. in the Automatic Chamber and via Zoom, which meeting link can be found on the agenda and on the city's website. Alderman Richard A. Dowd is the chairman, but however, he is, as we do, wear many hats, and he's at a school board meeting and will be joining us shortly. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. If you are participating via Zoom, please state your presence, reason for not attending the meeting in person, and whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Alderman Elijah Laurie Wilshire.
Here?
Alderman John Sullivan.
Here.
Alderwoman Elijah Shauna Kelly.
Here.
Alderman Ernest Jetty.
Here.
Alderman John Cathy.
Present.
Alderman Elijah Michael O'Brien is present, and like I say, we'll log in when Chairman Richard A. Dowd does come in. Also in attendance is Alderman Melbourne Moran. Also is Chief Buxton and various members from the fire department. I will now open up the meeting for public comment. And I see nobody in the audience, and I don't see anybody via Zoom. So we'll close public comments. We'll jump to communications, which there are none. Unfinished business, there is none. New business resolutions, there are none. And new business ordinances, and there are none. I am going to look for a motion to remove from the table R-22035, which is relative to the adoption of the fiscal year 2023 proposed budget for the city of Nashua, general, enterprise, special revenue, and grant funds. Alderman Kelly?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Kelly. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this particular time, Chief Buxton, I would like to welcome you to come up. And Chief Atkinson, please come up and grab a seat.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't bite.
Okay. Chief Buxton and company, welcome very much to the budget hearing for your division. I do caution you, these are directional microphones. So if you could speak directly into the microphone, and if you also could, whenever you speak, our transcriber does not, you're a new voice. So please, every time you go to speak, state your name, and that would be adequate. All right, for everybody else, the fire department is Department 152. The revenues are on page 36, 248, and the appropriations are on page 126. Chief Buxton, would you like to lead into the discussion?
Certainly. So thank you for having us this evening. My name is Steve Buxton. I'm the chief of the Nashua Fire Department. Right here with me is Karen Condi. She's our business administrator, and that is Assistant Chief Bill Atkinson down the row. Commissioner Burgess is also in attendance here tonight. Thanks for taking the time to meet with us this evening. I'd like to thank the team, the admin team at NFR for their efforts in building this budget. Karen Condi and Anne-Marie Boucher are highly skilled and organized in their efforts, and they're very much appreciated. Nashua Fire Rescue aims to be the premier emergency service provider in our region, and we are constantly striving for excellence in service delivery through education, innovation, teamwork, and collaboration. We protect approximately $10.5 billion in real and personal property within the city of Nashua. Our fire alarm division monitors $1.6 billion in assets. Nashua Fire Rescue often responds to building fires that require additional personnel. Due to the adequate staffing that we maintain on a daily basis, the incidents are quickly mitigated. Many of these incidents in other communities could overwhelm the available resources, resulting in longer-term incidents and loss of property and eventually tax revenues. As you may be aware, in 2020, we conducted a master plan study of our organization. From this study, 40-plus recommendations were brought forward. To handle these recommendations, a strategic plan was undertaken. It was developed to assist in prioritizing these recommendations. The goal is to develop and nurture a modern fire department that meets the needs of our community. As we accomplish these objectives, we will not only be meeting the needs of our community, but we'll be continually working towards our goal of achieving an ISO 1 rating for our fire department. Our goal is to achieve this in the next 3 years. Nashua Fire Rescue is one of 5 fire departments in the state of New Hampshire that has an ISO rating 2 currently. Small changes in our operation noted in our last audit will assist us in achieving a 1 rating. This will result in savings not only for homeowners, but also commercial business insurance holders, as well as the city of Nashua, who is a property owner in our own city. Currently, there are no ISO 1 rated fire departments in the state of New Hampshire, so if we are able to achieve this, we would be the first. Both the master plan and the strategic plan are available for viewing on our website. FY23 goals include the following. The Strategic Planning Committee reviewed the master plan, and our goal in FY23 is to quickly address those areas with little or no cost impact and deliver a prioritized 3 to 5 year plan that will have budgetary impacts for your consideration in the future. Like many others, NFR continues to suffer from recruitment issues. We've created a new process with the assets currently available to us, and we are realizing some success. Due to our efforts, we now hire from the region as well as nationwide. We continue to work to clearly identify a pathway for citizens of Nashua to pursue a career with Nashua Fire Rescue. This is an issue that has many contributing factors to it and involves efforts both at a local level as well as a state level. NFR will continue to work to acquire new equipment and apparatus as defined in the SURF schedule. Currently, 2 fire engines will very soon be delivered. It's important to note that these apparatus were ordered back under FY21's budget, and we ordered 2 of them at the same time to achieve a savings for the city. Because the order was placed late under the wire before a price increase, we had to wait our turn in line, and it's taken better than 16 months for them to be produced, but probably by July they will be here in the city. We are in the process of moving forward a project forward that will update our fire station alerting system. Completing this project will improve the health, both behavioral and physical, and safety of our members, potentially improving response times, while giving us the ability to extract data at a level that has never before been available to us. We are currently working with our city partners towards upgrading the city's aging traffic preemption system. Completing this project would also provide benefits potentially for the DPW as well as the transit system. A quick look at the future for you. In years to come, we will continue to move our organization forward to meet the needs of our community. And I'd like to make note of a few of the following recommendations from the master plan that you can expect to see in front of you in the future. The addition of an assistant fire chief position to handle professional standards for our organization. The job task this position would encompass would be all internal affair type activities, recruitment of new firefighters, oversight of the training and credentialing programs of the organization, manage the promotional process, develop, implement, and manage a professional development program at Nashua Fire Rescue. The addition of a community risk reduction officer. Development of a community risk reduction program to assist our at-risk populations. This is our elderly and our children. The generation called baby boomers is at an age where they are frequently utilizing our services. We are currently at the tip of the iceberg of this age group, and we need to adjust to be able to handle the volume of service requests that is headed our way. In addition, we also need to develop a program for people who speak languages other than English. National Fire Rescue continues to embrace technology, and as we do, we become more reliant on software programs. We are very quickly going to be in need of an IT position. We're outgrowing the bandwidth of the city IT division. There is consistently need for attention on a daily basis, and while our partners in IT do a wonderful job, we appear to be outgrowing the current model. The addition of a dedicated plans review position to keep pace with the development within the city, and we will be looking to secure funding in the future to conduct an engineering study of our facilities, and the city will need to prepare to make a significant investment in the fire station maintenance and development. While our members have unmatched pride and professionalism in their efforts to maintain our facilities, a study is needed so we can appropriately plan and prioritize our needs to maintain and update these facilities for the future. Within the FY23 budget, the following increases should be noted. CBA obligations, utility increases as dedicated by administrative services, purchasing manager, and the energy manager. The additional funding for a full year of the inspector investigator position that we started last year by providing half a year's worth of funding. A request for an additional $250,000 in overtime coverage associated funds. Currently, this is an extremely conservative figure with the CBA obligations in front of us. When we look at the overtime line in our current FY22 budget, overtime is very hard to predict due to the uncertainty of the needs for the coverage, but we continue to have members with large balances of vacation accrual, and this will cause us to continue to need greater funds to cover this cost. 90% of our workforce is replaced on a one-for-one basis. So that means when one member takes a shift off, we need to hire another member and pay them time and a half to replace them. This staffing is a requirement under the collective bargaining agreement, as well as is shown to be the most efficient model for staffing of a city fire department of our size. In closing, I want to take a moment to thank the mayor and the Board of Aldermen for their continued support. As you may be aware, NFR has been struggling to recover from cuts that were made back in 2007 and 2008. Through the efforts of the mayor and the board, and others, we are slowly making progress to regain some of this ground, while at the same time being certain the funding in place is placed appropriately for the needs of our community. I would like to thank the Board of Fire Commission, and most importantly, the members of National Fire Rescue for their efforts each and every day to make our community safer and assist those within our community who are having the worst day imaginable. It takes a special individual to enter into a career in public service, and I would say that firefighters are some of the most unique of these individuals. This is not just because of their skill set, but because of their compassion and desire to fix any issue that is presented to them. I'd like to thank you for your time this evening, and more than willing to answer any questions you may have about the FY23 budget for National Fire Rescue.
Alderman Kathy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a few questions, and the first one I think you might be able to answer. If we were to get a fire alert system, alarm system upgrade or change it, would that come out of the fire budget or the capital improvements budget?
That may come out of capital improvements. I think at this particular time that would need to go in. I do see John Griffin that could probably give a more solid answer, but to me it's a capital project because it does not exist now.
Right.
Do you agree, Chief Buxton?
Yep, Steve Buxton, National Fire. That was a proposal under the Capital Improvements Program, and it received an A2 rating from that committee.
Okay, great. If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, you may.
The IT position that you spoke of, would that be a union position?
That would be something that I would have to negotiate with the union.
Okay, and what are the estimated costs for that position?
Currently, I don't have any costs. That is something that I would be bringing forward probably next year.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I just wanted to put that on your radar.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Alderman Kelly.
Thank you, and thank you for thoroughly walking us through your budget. I have two questions. Question one is, I know overtime's very hard to put a number to, but I am wondering if you feel that it was higher the last couple of years because of COVID, and you may be able to kind of come closer to what we've seen historically.
So Steve Buxton, Nashville Fire. To answer your question, I don't know that we'll be able to, as you're certainly well aware, the city had created a policy that allowed members to carry more vacation time than they normally would be allowed to. So members within our organization can carry 2 years worth of their allotted vacation time. And then on their anniversary date, anything above that 2-year average gets reset to their maximum ceiling. Under the policy the city had passed, they allowed members to carry more than that. That policy ended, I believe it was 60 days after the state of emergency was declared done. And then members had until December 8th if their anniversary fell before December 8th, they had this following year to spend their vacation time down to that 2-year max. So at the end of the day, we have to get through this year for those members to get their time back down to that 2-year max. The important thing to remember here is that after they get it down to that 2-year ceiling, they still have 2 years worth of vacation time in their pockets that they can spend. So I envision it taking multiple years for this to even out. That being said, as you saw in the mayor's proposed budget, he took a $100,000 mayoral adjustment from our bottom line. So if you look at the money we put in that overtime coverage line being $250, you could actually make an argument that that is now $150. In the very near future, you'll learn that a resolution is going to come in front of you for a shortfall in our current budget in the payroll line because of this vacation usage issue mainly. So we're projecting that we're going to have the same issue next year. I know I'm a new fire chief, but I don't know that it's necessarily good practice to come in front of this board on an annual basis looking for a supplemental budget to make my books work. It's not a habit that I'd like to get into anyway.
Actually, my follow-up was where you would find the 100,000 from the mayoral cut, so you answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Sullivan.
Thank you very much. Chief Buxton, thanks for coming tonight and walking us through your budget. I was looking at the number of employees that Nashville Fire has, and I see a count of 181, and of that, there are 112 firefighters.
Correct.
Where are you staffing-wise? Are you fully staffed?
So we just finished a hiring process. So on Sunday, 9 new members of National Fire Rescue hit the floor, fully trained, ready to serve their probationary period. When they hit the floor, we already have 4 more openings within our organization. The hiring process for a firefighter is a little bit challenging, and it takes about 3 years for us to execute from the time of their application period closing to the time we start recruit school. Recruit school is about a month long, so we'll call the process 5 months total. So we run it once a year because it's kind of labor intensive. So I would guess that in the future, we'll probably hold recruit schools. The average will be about 10 people in there. Now, in this past year, last year our recruit school size was 14. This year it was 9. Somewhere throughout the year, Karen here has built a schedule, but we had 28 openings in some way, shape, or form, some for 40-something weeks, some for as little as 3 weeks. But every time we have an opening in our organization, we have to hire somebody to fill that spot. And when we're filling that spot, of course, we're paying an overtime rate. So the halftime rate for the openings we had in our organization last year cost about $400,000. So that's for people who have left our organization. We're trying to fill that opening, and we haven't filled it quite yet.
Follow up?
Thank you. After those 9 come on, you have 4 openings after that.
Correct.
Okay, that's it. All right, thank you.
Chief Buxton, for clarity, and Alderman Caffey, if you just stand by.
Yeah, sure.
The demands of the fire department are very unique. We just don't hire anybody off the street. Can you explain the prerequisites that is required to be considered for employment in the city of Nashville, Nashville Fire Rescue?
Certainly. Steve Buxton, Nashville Fire. So to get hired on the Nashville Fire Department, you need to have your high school diploma, GED, firefighter 2 certification. You have to be a nationally registered emergency medical technician. You have to file an application with us. You enter the process. You go through an initial interview and then a second interview. If you're selected to be hired, that's when we start your background checks. We'll send you, you fill out an information package, we vet your background, criminal, driving, credit. Then we put you through a process where we conduct what we call a PEP, a pre-employment psychological evaluation, as well as a physical examination. If everybody makes it through all of that, they're eligible to be hired. Back in the day when Alderman O'Brien got hired, the process was a little bit more lenient, perhaps, same as it was
Your
back.
requirement was to be completely dumb and a strong back.
There you go.
You had horses then, right?
It was certainly much the same when I got hired, and you had a pool of approximately 400 to 500 people that you were choosing from. When the members go through we pull these names of people that are interested off a state list. They've taken what they call a CPAT test. It's a very similar to a physical agility type test with firefighter-based work functions. So they have to be on that list also to apply for our organization. That pool, currently, the state just held that. I think there is less than 50 candidates on that list. So currently, the status of the fire service in the state of New Hampshire is we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So Nashua Fire is a taker. We take from Hudson, we take from all these other little departments because those people want to come work here. We do have people leave, but rarely when people leave here do they go to another fire department to be a firefighter. Oftentimes, they leave here to go be a chief officer somewhere, or they leave here for a different pursuit.
Alderman Kathy is next, but before I recognize Alderman Kathy, which will be done by our chairman who has joined us, and we welcome him, Alderman Richard A. Dow joined us at 7:18, and I'll go back to clerk, and Alderman Dow, welcome as chair.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. We had a very important meeting on the middle school project, so, which I couldn't miss, and I expected to be here earlier, but, so, Alderman Kathy, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Clerk. I have one clarity question and a couple other questions about line items. You said 3 years. Did you mean 3 months, or is it really 3 years to hire a fire?
3 to 5 months, I'm sorry.
Okay. I was like, wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Line item that says stipends. It's a large uptick from the year prior. What is covered underneath the stipends? What is that for? It's 51,700.
Karen Condi, Nashua Fire. So that is any of our members that are on the dive team or the hazmat team. And this is fully staffing them. The past year where it's actually, the budget was 737,950, it's going up to 758,700. That's if we're fully staffed for our hazmat and dive teams.
Okay. Follow up, Mr. Chair?
Follow up, yes.
Next page, the vehicle parts and supplies. I saw that this year you're up 20,000, but then your expectation is to go back down to the previous budgeted amount. How confident are you that that number is accurate, given that it was over this year, given supply chain issues, economy? Is that a confident number, or is that sort of just what you guys go with?
Karen Condi, Nashua Fire. We had a very large repair on one of the vehicles, so that's almost the whole 20 grand.
Oh, okay, all right. And one more, if I may.
Yes, follow up, go ahead.
For the sick incentive, I noticed this year that you didn't spend any of it, but for the next year, it's going up from 32 to 40. Can you speak to that?
So that's that's a contractual obligation that we have with the labor group. So we have to carry that number in case they do meet that goal, they get awarded that money.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set.
Alderwoman Kelly?
Sorry. Thank you. Forgive me if I don't fully understand, so just bear with me for a minute. I remember when we were talking to the police department about the waiting period from having a trainee to actually getting them on the force. They were kind of taking this approach where they could take more tenured, and I can't remember what the name of it was called, but like these more tenured people, which kind of gets you out of that 3-year gap. Is that something that the fire department could mirror, or is what you do completely different? I mean, obviously it is, but.
Steve Buxton, Nashville Fire. So I think what you're referring to is lateral transfers. And they have the ability to hire lateral transfers that are certified officers, I believe, and then they still send them to a minimal amount of training. So we do take lateral transfers. They go through the same process into our organization. However, to incorporate them into our system, because the fire department is more of a team-based sport, I guess is the best way to put it, we have to still put them through our 5-week recruit school. So we're able to place them on the floor probably in about the same amount of time that they can, maybe even a little quicker, versus them having to send somebody up to their school.
If I could follow up.
Follow up?
Okay, so it wasn't that crazy of a question. So in that case, are you, when you're looking for, and I know you're kind of taking what you can, are you looking for those sort of lateral transfers more often because you can get them on the floor quicker?
So it doesn't actually translate to getting them on the floor quicker necessarily in our process. It just is that you're getting a more experienced individual at that point in time.
Thank you.
Yep.
All set. Alderman Jettie?
Thank you. So I have some questions about the revenues on page 36.
I'm sorry, what page did you say?
36.
I don't believe we have that one
Do
with
you
us.
want to cheat off of mine?
Sure.
We got it now, thank you.
Okay. So I have, one of my questions is about dispatch services. What is that?
So that, when we negotiated the contract with AMR, our medical transport service in the city, we do the dispatching for them, so that money coming in is that fee for them to pay for those dispatching services.
Okay. Can I
Follow
follow
up?
up? And so the other fees that are listed, you know, I looked at the ordinances, and it looks like the last time that fee schedule was amended was in 2007. It's a long time ago. Have you, are you planning on reviewing that and revising it and bringing it up to date? You know, I don't know, but it seems like there's a source of income there that you're leaving on the table, and I'm wondering if you have plans to look at that.
Steve Buxton, Nashville Fire. I wholeheartedly agree with you. It is on the list of great ideas we have over there at the fire department, and it's just a matter of time management of being able to move that ball forward, because that involves legislation to adjust that ordinance. But yes, it is on our radar.
Did
Okay.
that not come up during the strategic planning? And that's still going on, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? I have a question. Your training fire facility out at the National Landfill, you have maintenance of that facility somewhere in here? I may have missed it, but
It's a minimal amount, but yes, we do have a little bit of a maintenance budget out there. And again, that's another one of those things that we need to increase, because other other departments do utilize that, and we have a rental fee that we charge them, but we need to, as Alderman Jettie suggested, we're leaving money on the table because we haven't adjusted that in several
yeah, that's
years.
gonna be the second part of my question. If you charge other departments to go and use that facility?
Yes, we do.
Good. Okay. And can you wait till after I ask my question?
Yeah.
The other question I had, and I might have missed it, did anybody ask about, you have maintenance of your trucks is the same amount as last year. Everyone else that's come in and says because of the increase in cost of parts and everything else, they bumped up their number. Do you feel that that number is adequate?
According to our mechanic, yes, it is. But I don't know that when he gave us his numbers, we necessarily understood the breadth of the price increase that we were going to be suffering from the current.
So there's tentatively an issue with that line if prices go up on parts?
If they continue, correct. Yep.
Alderman Kathy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kind of piggyback off what you guys were talking about. Are we charging an adequate amount for those usage of your training facilities?
Steve Buxton, Nashville Fire. Currently, no.
Is that something that is us-based, or that's just something that you guys come up with as far as fees go?
That's something we need to work on in our organization. That's not ordinance-based.
Okay.
We can adjust that, and that will be getting adjusted shortly.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No last minute questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much for your time and
Appreciate you coming
consideration.
in.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Alderman O'Brien, you have a motion?
Yes, I do. I would like to make a motion to table R-22035 relative to the adoption of the fiscal year 2023 proposed budget for the city of Nashua General, Enterprise, Special Revenue, and Grant Funds.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to table R 22035. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item, even though it's not listed on here, we have been having public comment. Is there anyone that wishes to provide public comment? I don't see anyone in the chamber or online that wishes to comment. So with that, general discussion? See?
Well,
I mean, right?
yeah, I just got a kick with you, Alderman Kelly, just to basically say, I mean, when I started between night and day, yeah, right. You picked it right. But today, I have to say, there's firefighters on this job. When I started, most of them were tradesmen. They brought their plumbing skills, electrical skills, other things in. But now there's firefighters who have associate degrees. And it's been quite the change that I've seen over my 35 years. So I was one of the archaic ones, you know what I mean? But when we first got hired, let's just leave as a, dumb mind and a strong back was a requirement. There was a third, but we'll leave that alone.
Thank you for your service, Alderman O'Brien.
Any other comments? Seeing none, by the way, thank you all for coming in from the fire department. It's always a pleasure to have you come in and go over your budget with you. Remarks by Alderman? Seeing none, Alderman O'Brien, do you have a motion?
Yes, I do. I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chair, to adjourn.
Motion is to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries
Stay here all night.
at 7:33 PM.